Jake Morrison stepped off the transport ship and looked around the space station. The place was huge. Metal walls stretched up high above his head. Strange lights blinked in colors he had never seen before. The air smelled different here. It had a sharp, clean smell that made his nose twitch. He wore his best black suit. His tie was straight. His shoes were polished until they shined. In his right hand, he carried a black briefcase. In his left hand, he held a folder with important papers. He looked like any other diplomat from Earth. Amy Foster walked beside him. She was his aide. She carried a tablet computer and looked nervous. Her hands shook a little as she checked their schedule. This was her first time meeting aliens, too. "Remember," Jake said quietly to Amy, "we are here to make peace. We want trade deals. We want to be friends with the galaxy." Amy nodded. "Yes, sir. The meeting starts in 1 hour." They walked through long hallways. Strange creatures moved past them. Some looked like giant bugs. Others looked like rocks that could walk. One group looked like floating gas clouds with eyes. Jake had studied pictures of these aliens, but seeing them in person was different. The aliens stared at Jake and Amy as they walked by. Some made clicking sounds. Others made deep rumbling noises. Jake could not understand their languages, but he could guess what they were saying. They were talking about the humans. A tall, thin alien with blue skin approached them. It had 4 arms and no hair. Its eyes were completely black. "You are the humans?" the alien asked. Its voice sounded like metal scraping on metal. "Yes," Jake said. "I am Commander Jake Morrison. This is Lieutenant Amy Foster. We are here for the peace talks." The alien made a sound that might have been laughing. "Peace talks? Yes, follow me." They followed the blue alien through more hallways. Other aliens joined them as they walked. Jake counted 12 different types of creatures. Some were small and quick. Others were big and slow. All of them looked at the humans like they were looking at insects. They entered a huge room. The ceiling was so high, Jake could barely see it. In the center of the room was a big round table. 12 chairs sat around the table. Each chair was different, made for a different type of alien body. 2 small chairs sat at one end of the table. They looked like they were made for children. Jake realized these were the human chairs. "Sit," said a voice that sounded like rocks, falling down a mountain. Jake looked up. The biggest alien he had ever seen was standing behind one of the large chairs. It looked like a giant ant, but it stood on 2 legs. Its head came up to Jake's chest, but it was 3 times as wide. This was Chairman Vextar, the leader of the Galactic Council. Jake and Amy sat in their small chairs. Jake put his briefcase on the floor next to his feet. Amy opened her tablet and started taking notes. "So," Chairman Vextar said, "the humans want to join us." "We want to work together," Jake said. "Earth has many things to offer. We have new technologies. We have art and music. We have foods you have never tasted. We want to trade with you. We want to learn from you." A creature that looked like a bear covered in metal plates laughed. "What could humans possibly teach us? You are new to space. You are weak. You have no real weapons. You have no real ships." "We are peaceful," Jake said. "We do not want to fight. We want to be friends." More aliens laughed. The sound filled the big room. Jake felt Amy tense up beside him, but he stayed calm. He had expected this. "Peaceful," said an alien that looked like living crystal. "That is another word for weak." "We have been watching you humans," said a floating gas cloud with 3 eyes. "You fight each other on your own planet. You destroy your own environment. You are not ready to join civilized beings." Jake opened his folder. "I have brought proposals for trade agreements. I have brought samples of human art and music. I have brought proof that Earth wants to be a good neighbor in the galaxy. Chairman Vexstar waved one of his 6 arms. We do not need to see your papers, human. We have already decided. Jake felt his heart beat faster, but his face stayed calm. What have you decided? Humans are not ready to join the Galactic Council. You may continue to live on your little planet. You may not travel beyond your solar system. You may not contact other worlds. This meeting is over. The aliens around the table made various sounds of agreement. Some clicked, some buzzed, some made deep rumbling noises. Wait, Jake said, standing up. We came here in good faith. We traveled for months to get here. We only want a chance to prove ourselves. You have proven yourselves, said the metal-plated bear creature. You have proven that you are weak. Amy packed up her tablet with shaking hands. Jake could see tears in her eyes. He picked up his briefcase and his folder. Is this your final decision? Jake asked. It is, Chairman Vexstar said. Guards will escort you back to your ship. You will leave immediately. Jake nodded. I understand. Thank you for your time. As they walked toward the door, Jake heard the aliens talking behind him. They were making jokes about humans. They were laughing about how easy it had been to get rid of them. At the door, a huge alien with thick fur and sharp teeth stepped in front of them. This was Grakthul, the station security chief. Commander Morrison, Grakthul said. His voice was deep and rough. Perhaps we could speak privately before you leave. There might be another way to help your people. Jake looked at the alien's face. Something felt wrong, but this might be their only chance. What do you mean? Jake asked. Not here, Grakthul said, looking around. Too many ears. Come with me. I will show you something that might change everything. Amy grabbed Jake's arm. Sir, we should go back to the ship. Jake thought for a moment. If there was any chance to help Earth, he had to try. Lead the way, Jake said to Grakthul as they followed the big alien down a different hallway. Jake did not notice the small smile on Grakthul's face. He did not see the other aliens following them at a distance. He was thinking about his mission and how he had failed, but Jake Morrison had not failed yet. He had simply not begun. Grakthul led Jake and Amy through narrow hallways deep inside the station. The lights here were dim and flickered sometimes. The walls were made of old metal that had rust spots on them. This was not the nice part of the station where the important meetings happened. Where are we going? Amy asked. Her voice echoed in the empty hallway. Somewhere we can talk without being heard, Grakthul said over his shoulder. The council has ears everywhere. Jake walked behind the big alien. Something felt wrong. His training told him to be careful, but he needed to hear what Grakthul had to say. Maybe there was still hope for Earth. They went down metal stairs that clanged under their feet. The air got colder as they went deeper into the station. Jake could hear machines humming behind the walls. This was where the station's engines and life support systems were kept. Here, Grakthul said, stopping at a heavy metal door. Inside this room, we can speak freely. The door opened with a loud screech. Inside was a big empty room with pipes running along the ceiling. Old boxes were stacked in the corners. The floor was dirty metal with oil stains on it. Jake stepped inside. Amy followed him. Grakthul came in last and closed the door behind them. Now, Jake said, turning to face the big alien. What did you want to tell me? Grakthul smiled. His teeth were yellow and sharp. I wanted to tell you something very important, human. Jake waited. I wanted to tell you that you are about to die. The door opened again. More aliens came into the room. Jake counted 12 of them. They were all different types, but they all carried weapons. Energy guns that glowed with dangerous light. Metal clubs with spikes on them. Sharp knives that curved like claws. Amy gasped and stepped closer to Jake. "Sir?" Jake did not move. He looked at each alien in turn. He memorized their positions. He noted what weapons they carried. He checked for exits. There was only one door, and it was blocked. "Let me guess," Jake said calmly. "This was planned from the beginning." Grateful laughed. It was a deep, mean sound. "Of course it was planned. Did you really think we would waste time talking to weak humans? Did you think we wanted to be friends with you?" "The council never planned to negotiate," Jake said. "It was not a question." "The council wanted to send a message to your people," said one of the smaller aliens. It looked like a lizard that walked on two legs. "The message is simple. Humans are not welcome in space." "You will disappear," said another alien that looked like a walking tree with too many arms. "Your ship will be found empty. Your people will think you had an accident during the flight home." "A very sad accident," Gregthul said, pretending to look sorry. "Space travel is so dangerous for new species." Amy was shaking now. Jake could hear her breathing getting faster. She was scared, and she had every right to be scared. "What about my aide?" Jake asked. "She has done nothing wrong." "She was here," Gregthul said with a shrug. "She saw things she should not have seen. She must disappear too." Jake nodded slowly. He set his briefcase down on the floor. He loosened his tie and unbuttoned the top button of his shirt. He rolled up his sleeves. "Are you hot, human?" one of the aliens asked. The others laughed. "No," Jake said. "I am just getting ready to work." He looked directly at Gregthul. "Are you absolutely certain you want to do this?" Gregthul's smile got bigger. "I am certain, little human. We are going to enjoy this." "Then you should know something," Jake said. His voice got very quiet. The aliens had to lean forward to hear him. "I did not come here just as a diplomat." "What?" Gregthul asked. "I came here as a warning." The aliens looked at each other. Some of them seemed confused. Others just looked angry. "Warning of what?" The lizard alien asked. Jake picked up his briefcase. He pressed a small button on the handle. The case made a soft clicking sound. When he opened it, it was not full of papers anymore. Inside were pieces of metal and plastic that fit together in ways that looked dangerous. "Warning of what happens when you mistake diplomacy for weakness," Jake said. His hands moved fast. Very fast. The pieces from the briefcase came together in his hands. In 3 seconds, he was holding something that definitely was not a diplomat's. Amy stopped shaking. She reached into her tablet case and pulled out something that was also not what it seemed to be. "Sir," she said, and her voice was not nervous anymore. "Should we send the message now?" "Yes, Lieutenant," Jake said. "I think they are ready to receive it." Gregthul realized something had gone very wrong. "Kill them," he shouted. "Kill them. Now." The aliens raised their weapons, but Jake was already moving. He did not move like a diplomat anymore. He moved like water flowing downhill. Fast and smooth and impossible to stop. The first alien to fire missed because Jake was not where he had been a moment before. The energy blast hit the wall and left a black mark on the metal. Jake was next to the alien before it could fire again. There was a quick movement of Jake's hands. The alien fell down and did not get up. Amy was moving too. She was not shaking anymore. She was not nervous anymore. She moved like she had been trained to fight in small spaces against multiple enemies. 2. More aliens went down before the others realized they were not fighting scared diplomats. They were fighting something else entirely. "What are you?" Gregthul shouted, backing toward the door. Jake finished putting together the weapon from his briefcase. It was sleek and black and made a soft humming sound. "I am what you get," Jake said, "when you invite a human to negotiate and then try to kill him instead." The room filled with the sound of energy weapons firing. But most of the shots were not coming from the aliens anymore. "My name is not just Commander Jake Morrison," Jake said as he moved between the enemy weapons like he could see them coming before they were fired. "My name is Colonel Jake Morrison, former leader of Reaper Squadron, Earth's finest Special Forces unit." Another alien fell. Then another. "You thought humans were weak because we offered peace first," Jake continued. "You thought diplomacy meant we could not fight." Greg Thul was the only alien still standing. He was pressed against the door, trying to open it, but his hands were shaking too much to work the controls. "You were wrong," Jake said, walking toward him. Amy stood behind Jake. Her weapon was ready, but she did not need to use it anymore. "Please," Greg Thul said, "I was just following orders. The council told me to do this." Jake stopped right in front of the big alien. The council should have asked more questions about who they were dealing with. "What do you want?" Greg Thul asked. "I want you to deliver a message to the council," Jake said. "Can you do that?" Greg Thul nodded quickly. "Tell them this," Jake said. "Earth sent a diplomat because we hoped for peace. But we sent a soldier too, just in case peace was not possible. Tell them to think carefully about what that means." Jake stepped back. "Go." Greg Thul ran for the door. His hands finally worked. The controls. He rushed out into the hallway. Amy looked around the room at the fallen aliens. "Think he will deliver the message, sir?" Jake straightened his tie and buttoned his shirt. "Oh, yes, Lieutenant. I think the council is about to learn some very interesting things about humans." Greg Thul ran through the station hallways as fast as his big legs could carry him. His heart was beating like a war drum. Sweat dripped from his fur. He had never been so scared in his life. Behind him, he could still hear the sounds from the storage room. But they were not the sounds of Jake Morrison dying. They were the sounds of the other aliens dying. One by one, Greg Thul reached a communication panel on the wall. His hands shook as he tried to call for help. He pressed the emergency button. "This is Security Chief Greg Thul," he said into the speaker. "Send all available guards to Storage Room 7. We have a situation." "What kind of situation?" came the reply. "The humans," Greg Thul said. "They are not what we thought they were." "Explain." "Just send everyone," Greg Thul shouted. "Send them now." But when he tried to call again, nothing happened. The communication system was dead. The lights in the hallway flickered and went out. Emergency power kicked in, but everything was dim and red now. Greg Thul heard footsteps behind him. Slow, steady footsteps. He turned around. Jake Morrison was walking down the hallway toward him. The human suit was still neat and clean. His tie was still straight. He looked like he was going to another meeting, not like he had just fought 12 armed aliens. But there was something different about his eyes now. They were cold and empty, like looking into deep space. "Going somewhere?" Jake asked. Greg Thul pulled out his personal weapon. It was the biggest energy gun on the station. It could blow a hole through thick metal walls. "Stay back," Greg Thul shouted. "I will kill you." Jake kept walking. "You already tried that." "How did it work out for your friends?" Greg Thul fired. The energy blast was bright enough to hurt his eyes. It should have turned Jake Morrison into ash. But Jake was not there anymore. The blast hit the wall where he had been standing. "Where did you learn to move like that?" Greg Thul demanded, spinning around to look for the human. "Same place I learned to fight like that." Jake's voice came from behind him. Greg Thul spun around again, but Jake was already moving. The human's hand grabbed Greg Thul's wrist and twisted. The big alien's gun clattered to the floor. "Earth has been preparing for this day for a long time," Jake said. "We knew someday we would meet other species. We knew some of them might not be friendly." Greg Thul tried to hit Jake with his free hand, but the human ducked under the swing and stepped Behind him. So we trained our diplomats to be soldiers too, Jake continued. We trained them to fight in zero gravity, in different atmospheres, against enemies with different body types and different weapons. Grakthul broke free and ran down the hallway. Jake followed him, but he was not running. He was just walking, fast enough to keep up, but not hurrying. Like he knew exactly where Grakthul was going, the alien security chief reached the main security office. He slammed his hand on the door controls. Nothing happened. He tried his security codes. Still nothing. Having trouble? Jake asked from behind him. Grakthul turned around. What did you do to my station? I did not do anything, Jake said. But my aide is very good with computer systems. Amy Foster appeared at the other end of the hallway. She was carrying a small device that blinked with lights. All security systems are down, sir. Communications are down. Weapon systems are down. Life support is still working, but I can change that if you want. Amy Foster, Jake said to Grakthul. Lieutenant Amy Foster. Intelligence specialist. Computer expert. Also trained to fight, just like me. Grakthul looked back and forth between the two humans. What do you want? We want to finish our conversation, Jake said. The one we started in the storage room. What? Conversation? The one about sending messages. More aliens appeared at the far end of the hallway. They were security guards carrying weapons. When they saw Grakthul and the humans, they raised their guns. Help me, Grakthul shouted to them. Kill the humans. The guards opened fire. Energy blasts filled the hallway with bright light and heat. But when the shooting stopped, the humans were not there anymore. They had vanished like smoke. Where did they go? One of the guards asked. Check the air vents, Grakthul ordered. Check the maintenance tunnels. Find them. The guards spread out to search. Grakthul stayed in the hallway, looking up at the ceiling and down at the floor. The humans could be anywhere. A soft sound came from above. One of the ceiling panels moved slightly. There. Grakthul pointed up. They are in the ceiling. The guards fired upward. The ceiling panels exploded in showers of sparks and metal pieces, but nothing fell down. No humans. No blood. Nothing. Behind you, Jake's voice said quietly. The guards spun around. Jake and Amy were standing at the other end of the hallway. They had somehow gotten behind the entire group. How? Grakthul asked. We studied the station plans before we arrived, Amy said. We know every corridor, every room, every maintenance tunnel. We know this place better than you do. That is impossible, Grakthul said. Those plans are classified. Not classified enough, Jake said. The guards opened fire again. This time the humans did not disappear. They moved like dancers, like they could predict where each shot would go before it was fired. The energy blasts missed them by inches. Jake's weapon made soft humming sounds as it fired back. The guards' weapons made loud banging sounds as they hit the floor dot in 30 seconds. All the guards were down. Not dead, but unable to fight anymore. Grakthul was alone again. Last chance, Jake said. Are you ready to listen to my message? Grakthul nodded quickly. Good. Here's what you are going to tell the council. Jake walked closer to the big alien. You are going to tell them that humans are not weak. You are going to tell them that we sent a diplomat because we wanted peace, but we sent a soldier because we were prepared for war. I will tell them, Grakthul said. You are going to tell them that every human diplomat in space has the same training I have. Every single one. When they meet a human who says he wants to make a deal, they are also meeting a human who can kill them with his bare hands. Grakthul swallowed hard. I understand. You are going to tell them that Earth does not need their permission to explore. Space, we were offering to be partners. We were not asking to be allowed. Yes, Jake stopped right in front of Gregthul. "And you are going to tell them that if they ever threaten a human diplomat again, Earth will not send another diplomat. Earth will send an army." "I will tell them everything," Gregthul promised. "Good." Jake straightened his tie again. "Now show us back to our ship. We have a report to make to our government." As they walked through the station, aliens stared at them through windows and doorways. Word had spread quickly about what happened in the lower levels. The scary humans who looked like diplomats but fought like demons at the docking bay. Jake and Amy boarded their ship. Before the door closed, Jake turned back to Gregthul. "One more thing," he said. "Tell the Council that Earth hopes they make the right choice. We still want to be friends, but we are perfectly comfortable being enemies instead." The ship door closed. A few minutes later, the human ship detached from the station and flew away into space. Gregthul stood in the docking bay for a long time, watching the ship disappear. Then he walked slowly back to the council chambers. He had a very difficult message to deliver. The council chamber was very quiet when Gregthul walked in. The 12 council members sat in their chairs, waiting for him to speak. They had heard rumors about what happened in the lower levels of the station, but they wanted to hear the truth. From their security chief, Chairman Vextar leaned forward in his chair. "Report, Gregthul. What happened to the humans?" Gregthul stood in the center of the room. His fur was still messy from running. His hands still shook a little. "The humans are gone, Chairman. They left on their ship." "Left? The crystalline?" Alien made a sound like breaking glass. "They were supposed to disappear. You were supposed to make them have an accident." "There was an accident," Gregthul said quietly, "but not the kind we planned." "Explain," Chairman Vextar demanded. Gregthul took a deep breath. The human diplomat was not a normal diplomat. He was something else, something dangerous. The council members looked at each other. Some made worried sounds. "How dangerous?" "Ask the floating gas cloud alien." "He killed 11 of my best security guards," Gregthul said, "by himself." In less than 5 minutes, the room erupted in shocked voices. Clicking, buzzing, rumbling, and screeching filled the air as the aliens talked over each other. "Impossible," shouted the bear-like alien. "Humans are weak. We have studied them." "That is what I thought too," Gregthul said. "I was wrong." "Chairman." Vextar raised one of his arms for silence. "Show us the security footage." Gregthul shook his head. "There is no footage. The humans' aid disabled our security systems. All of them. Communications, weapons, surveillance, everything." "One human did this?" the tree-like alien asked. "2 humans," Gregthul corrected. "The aide was not really an aide. She was a soldier too." "They both were. But they looked so harmless," said the lizard alien. "They wore suits. They carried papers. They also carried weapons," Gregthul said. "Hidden weapons. Weapons that looked like normal diplomatic tools." He pulled out a twisted piece of metal from his belt. This was the human's briefcase. It turned into some kind of energy weapon. I have never seen technology like it. The council members passed the broken metal around the table. Each one examined it carefully. "This is very advanced," the crystalline alien admitted. "More advanced than anything we have seen from the humans before." "Maybe we did not see it, because they did not want us to see it," Gregthul suggested. Chairman Vextar stood up. "Are you saying the humans have been lying to us about their capabilities?" "I am saying maybe we have been lying to ourselves about their capabilities," Gregthul said. The chamber fell silent again. This was a very uncomfortable thought for the council members. They had built their policies around the idea that humans were weak and primitive. What exactly did this human say? "To you?" asked the gas cloud alien. Gregthul straightened up. This was the hardest part. "He said to give you a message." What message? He said that Earth sent a diplomat because they hoped for peace. But they sent a soldier too, just in case peace was not possible. More uncomfortable silence. He said that every human diplomat in space has the same training he has. Every single one. The bear-like alien laughed, but it sounded nervous. That is a bluff. They cannot all be soldiers. He said that Earth does not need our permission to explore space. He said they were offering to be partners, not asking to be allowed. Arrogant, Chairman Vexstar said, but his voice was not as strong as usual. He said that if we ever threaten a human diplomat again, Earth will not send another diplomat. Earth will send an army. The chamber was so quiet now that they could hear the station's engines humming in the distance. Finally, the crystalline alien spoke. If what you say is true, then we have made a serious mistake. What kind of mistake? Asked the tree-like alien. We have been assuming that diplomatic behavior means military weakness. But what if it means the opposite? What do? You mean? Chairman Vexstar asked. The crystalline alien's body flashed with different colors as it thought. What if they are so strong that they can afford to be diplomatic? What if they only offer peace because they are confident they can win any war? This was an even more uncomfortable thought. But they are just one small planet, the lizard alien protested. How strong can they be? Strong enough that one of their diplomats can defeat our best security team, Grakthol reminded them. Maybe he was special, the gas cloud alien suggested. Maybe he was their best warrior. Or maybe he was average, the crystalline alien said. Maybe all human diplomats are like this. The bear-like alien stood up angrily. I refuse to believe that humans are a threat to us. We have ships. We have weapons. We have technology they cannot match. Do we? Asked the crystalline alien. How do we know what technology they have? How do we know what weapons they have? We have been watching them, but maybe they have been watching us too. That is impossible, Chairman Vexstar said. Our intelligence networks are the best in the galaxy. Our intelligence networks told us that humans were weak, Grakthol pointed out. Our intelligence networks were wrong. The tree-like alien's branches rustled nervously. If humans have been studying us while we thought we were studying them, then they know things about us that we do not know about them. They know our trade routes, the gas cloud alien realized. They know our military positions. They know our weaknesses, while we know nothing about their real capabilities. The crystalline alien added that Chairman Vexstar sat back down heavily. What do you recommend we do? We could declare war, the bear-like alien suggested. Show them that we are not afraid. With what? Grakthol asked. If their diplomats are this dangerous, what do you think their actual military is like? We could try to negotiate, the tree-like alien said, after trying to murder their diplomat. The lizard alien pointed out. I do not think they will trust us now. Maybe that was the point, the crystalline alien said slowly. Maybe they knew we would try something like this. Maybe they sent someone who could survive it. You think this was a test? Chairman Vexstar asked. I think maybe everything about this meeting was a test. And we failed it badly. A gas cloud alien floated nervously around its chair. What if they come back? What if they come back with more than just diplomats? The tree-like alien added. Chairman Vexstar looked around the table at his fellow council members. They all looked worried now. The humans had seemed like such a small problem when the meeting started. Now they seemed like a very big problem indeed. Grakthol, the chairman said finally. Send a message to the human government. What kind of message? Tell them we want to talk again. Tell them we are willing to reconsider their proposals. What? If they do not believe us? Grakthol asked. Then we will have to prove that we are sincere, Chairman Vexstar said. Because if we do not, we may discover that humans are much more dangerous as enemies than they ever were as friends. The council. Members sat in their chairs, thinking about the future. It was going to be very different from what they had planned. 3 days later, Jake Morrison sat in his ship's communication room. He was still wearing his diplomatic suit, but now it was wrinkled from the long journey home. Amy Foster sat beside him, checking her reports one final time. The communication screen flickered to life. Chairman Vexstar Insect Face appeared on the screen. He looked tired and worried. "Commander Morrison," the chairman said, "thank you for accepting our call." "Chairman," Jake replied politely, "I was surprised to hear from you. I thought our business was finished. Perhaps we were too hasty in our decision," Chairman Vexstar said carefully. "The council would like to reconsider your proposals." Jake leaned back in his chair. "Really? What changed your mind?" There was a long pause. Chairman Vexstar's compound eyes looked uncomfortable. "We have been discussing the situation. We believe there may have been misunderstandings on both sides." "Misunderstandings," Jake repeated. "Is that what you call attempted murder now?" "That was an unfortunate incident," the chairman said quickly. "Security Chief Greg Thull acted without proper authorization. He has been disciplined." Jake looked at Amy. She shook her head slightly. They both knew this was not true. "Chairman," Jake said, "let me save us both some time. Earth has been monitoring this conversation. We know you are lying." Chairman Vexstar's face changed color. "What do you mean?" Amy pulled out her tablet and pressed a few buttons. "We have recordings of your council meetings, Chairman. All of them. From before our visit, during our visit, and after our visit." "That is impossible," Chairman Vexstar said. "Our chambers are secure." "Your chambers were secure," Jake corrected. "Until we arrived. We have been listening to every word you said." The chairman's face went completely pale. "How long have you been spying on us?" "Since before we left Earth," Amy said. "We knew exactly what kind of reception we would get. We knew you planned to kill us. We came anyway." "Why?" Chairman Vexstar asked. "Because Earth needed to know what kind of neighbors we have in space," Jake explained. "We needed to know if you could be trusted. We needed to know if you would honor agreements or break them when it suited you. And now you know," the chairman said quietly. "Yes, now we know." Jake stood up and walked closer to the screen. "Chairman, let me tell you what Earth really knows about the Galactic Council." He pressed a button on his own tablet. Numbers and pictures appeared on the screen. "We know about your trade routes, all of them. We know which ones make money and which ones lose money." Chairman Vexstar's eyes grew wider. "We know about your military bases. We know how many ships you have at each base. We know what kind of weapons they carry." More pictures appeared on the screen. Detailed maps of council space. "We know about the rebellion in the Outer Rim that you have been hiding from your own people. We know about the food shortages on your industrial worlds. We know about the civil war brewing between the Zephyrians and the Nebulans." "Stop," Chairman Vexstar said weakly. "We know that your economy is failing. We know that 3 council species are planning to leave the Alliance. We know that you desperately need new trade partners to survive." Jake sat back down. "And we know that you are too proud to admit any of this." The screen was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want?" Chairman Vexstar finally asked. "The same thing we wanted 3 days ago," Jake said. "Fair trade agreements, mutual respect, peaceful cooperation." "And if we refuse?" Jake shrugged. "Then you refuse. Earth will find other trading partners, other allies, other friends." "You mean our enemies," the chairman said. "We mean anyone who is willing to deal with us honestly," Amy said. "The Outer Rim rebels, for example. They seem very interested in human technology." Chairman Vexstar made a choking sound. "You have contacted the rebels?" We have contacted everyone, Chairman. While you were planning to murder our diplomat, we were making friends with everyone else in the galaxy. Jake pulled up more pictures on his tablet. The independent worlds love our music. The frontier colonies want our medical technology. The mining guilds need our engineering expertise. Even some of your own council members have been talking to us privately, Amy added. They are very unhappy with the current leadership. Chairman, Vexstar looked like he was going to be sick. This is impossible. We would have detected your ships. You would have detected our big ships, Jake said. But we sent small ships. Fast ships. Ships designed to look like space debris or asteroids. You have been preparing for this for years, the chairman realized. We have been preparing for this since we first detected your radio signals, Jake confirmed. Earth does not do anything without a plan, Chairman, including diplomacy. Amy leaned forward. The question now is whether the Galactic Council wants to be part of Earth's future or part of Earth's past. What does that mean? It means you can either work with us as equals or watch us work with everyone else while you become irrelevant. Jake explained. Chairman Vexstar was quiet for a very long time. In the background, they could hear other council members arguing with each other. What are your terms? The chairman asked finally. The same terms we offered before, Jake said. Fair trade, mutual defense agreements, cultural exchange programs, respect for sovereignty. And what do you offer in return? Technology you desperately need, food for your hungry worlds, medical, supplies for your sick people, and most importantly, a chance to be on the winning side of history. The chairman looked off screen, apparently listening to other council members. Some of my colleagues believe we should fight you instead of dealing with you, he said. That is their choice, Jake said calmly. But they should understand what they would be fighting. And what would they be fighting? Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Chairman, you sent your best security team to kill one human diplomat. One, and they all lost. He paused to let that sink in. Earth has 2 billion soldiers, Chairman. 2 billion. All trained to the same level as me. Or better. We have ships you have never seen. Weapons you cannot imagine. Technologies that would seem like magic to you. You are bluffing, the chairman said, but he did not sound sure. Am I? Your security chief fought me for 5 minutes, and I was not. Even trying very hard. I was being careful not to damage your station or hurt innocent people. In a real war, I would not be so careful. Amy pulled up one final image on her tablet. It showed Earth's moon, but something was wrong with it. There were structures on the surface. Big structures. Military structures. This is what we built while you thought we were still struggling to reach our own moon, Amy said. This is what we were doing while you were laughing about how primitive we are. Chairman Vexstar stared at the image. How many ships do you have? Enough, Jake said simply. How many worlds have you colonized? Enough. How long have you been watching us? Long enough. The chairman turned away from the screen to talk to the other council members. There was a lot of angry buzzing and clicking in the background. After several minutes, he turned back to the screen. The council accepts your original proposals, he said. We are prepared to negotiate in good faith. Excellent, Jake said. We will send a new diplomatic team next month. Real diplomats this time. People who are only trained in negotiation, not combat. And if there are more misunderstandings? Jake's expression became very serious. Chairman, there will be no more misunderstandings. Your people now know what happens when humans are threatened. Your security forces know they cannot defeat us. Your intelligence services know they cannot spy on us without our knowledge. He stood up again. The next human who visits your station will be safe, or the one after that will not be a diplomat at all. We understand, Chairman Vexstar said quickly. Good. Earth looks forward to a long and profitable relationship with the Galactic Council. The screen went dark. Amy looked at Jake. Think they learned their lesson? Jake straightened his tie and picked up his briefcase. They learned that humans are not what they thought we were. Whether that makes them smarter or just more careful remains to be seen. And if they try something like this again? Jake opened his briefcase and began taking apart his weapon, putting the pieces back where they belonged. Then next time, Earth will not send a warning. Earth will send a demonstration. He closed the briefcase and walked toward the door. Come on, Lieutenant. Let us go home. I need to file a report. What will you tell them? Jake paused at the door and looked back at the now dark communication screen. I will tell them that first contact was successful. The galaxy now understands exactly what kind of species humanity is. And more importantly, they understand what kind of species we are not, which is the kind that can be pushed around. As their ship flew through space toward Earth, Jake Morrison sat in his cabin and wrote his mission report. It was very short. Mission accomplished. Galactic Council now understands human capabilities and intentions. Recommend proceeding with normal diplomatic channels. Council is sufficiently motivated to cooperate. No further demonstrations should be necessary at this time. He paused and added one final line. Note: diplomacy works much better when backed by the threat of superior force. Recommend all future diplomatic missions include similar contingency planning. Jake sealed the report and sent it to Earth. Then he changed out of his diplomatic suit and into his military uniform. After all, he had never really been just a diplomat. He had been a soldier first and soul.